Good afternoon. It is so good to see all of you here, many familiar faces from past performances and others that are here for the first time for this wonderful event. And it's so good to see you. My name is Gwin, and I've had the honor and privilege of being a pastor here now for 6 years. We have come today to celebrate music, to gather with Julie Amacher's great love of music, and for this church, her love for this church, to revel in the language of music. And in so doing, to strengthen the music ministry of this congregation. So there's that. But it is bigger than that. I am a pastor and therefore charged with not skating across the surface, if you will, of things. No one enters here this afternoon who is not in some way, for some reason, seeking shelter from all the stormy blasts that are going on around us. We may put our newspaper down. We may turn NPR off. We may shut off our computer. But all that threatens lurks still. And what we need, it seems to me, is help in finding our way, help in finding a shelter from the stormy blast. And the truth is, and you wouldn't be here if you didn't know this, music grants us this shelter. Music is God's universal language that calls us, that encourages us, that strengthens us. Music in the midst of worry, of terror, of fear. Music unplugs us from all of that and grants us courage and strength in all that challenges us. So let us end this afternoon in all the kinds of beautiful, wonderful music we have here today, in Van Dyck's immortal language, join the mighty chorus which the morning stars began. God's own love is reigning o'er us, joining people hand in hand. Ever singing, march we onward, victors in the midst of strife. Joyful music leads us sunward in the triumph song of life. Welcome, Julie.
Thank you so much. I am Julie Amacher Clement, and 10 years ago, I was serving on the worship council here, and it came to our attention that our sound system, well, to put it bluntly, sucked. And they said, we need to raise some funds. You're on the worship council. Why don't you put together a benefit concert in 3 weeks? And you know what? We did it. And some of the people performing today were here at that very first concert. And I remember at the end of it, it was so overwhelming. I couldn't believe all the people that would come to the concert and the people who would come and perform. And every year they reach out and they go, are you doing that concert? Because I want to come and sing, or I want to come and play. Because it's a safe place for the musicians, and it's a safe place for all of you. And so I'm so grateful you're here. I just got a text from the chair of the worship council, who is in Michigan, and she wanted to remind me to tell you some of the things that we're raising funds for today. A camcorder, heavy duty tripod, more handheld mics. We can never have too many mics, as you can see. And better power supply, an HDMI jack. Those are some of the things we're raising funds for. Now, those don't sound very, flashy or exciting. One year we were raising funds for the projector that's hanging up in the back, and lo and behold, COVID hit. And boy, we have really put that projector to good use. As you can see with our Zoom service, we have a hybrid service every Sunday now. And there are people who can attend the services who couldn't physically be here or who travel, they go up north or wherever they may go for the summer, and yet they're still able to participate in the service. So our community is held together through this technology, and we're so grateful for that. And music is a huge part of this church, and it's one of the things that got me here 25 years ago, and why I keep coming back, because music is, it just speaks to our souls, and that's really important. So those are some of the things I want you to know. We are doing this concert straight through. We are not having an intermission. In years past, we've had an intermission and we've had lots of food, and then I can't get you all back in here to finish the concert. So this year we just decided, because of COVID and other things, that we would just have a shorter concert, have it go straight through. And so my opportunities to ask you to support it will be fewer. And so I'm hoping that you will take the time to make your contribution. I've got 2 folks sitting outside the door here who's happy to take your money, any amount. And then we also do have a PayPal option. And Emily, our worship chair, just texted me and said, I just did it. It works fine. And Callie is supposed to be putting that in the chat for you. So if you're on Zoom and you want to make your contribution that way, you can do that as well. So I'm done talking, at least for the moment. I'll come back up while we're rearranging and things, but we're going to start things off with the Incidental Trio, because they get together on occasion.
Just a quick announcement while they're coming up here. I'm 88-year-old Kaitlyn Harrison, and this one's on, right? You guys hear me? Yeah, okay. And I'm taking pictures. We're going to be posting them on the Facebook page. If you do not want to be on the Facebook page, come see me, and I will not post you on the Facebook page. Also, I'm going to stand kind of back over here by this music stand, and I'm going to get the whole crowd in one shot. So if you hear clicking, it's just me taking pictures. And without further ado, Incidental Trio.
Thank you. Just a few words about this piece you're about to hear. Incidental Trio gets together when there's an incident, which is how we got our name. The piece is by Eric Ewazen, and it's about 20 years old. The second music you're going to hear, and it's not a misprint in the program, we're doing, for the sake of time, 2 movements from this 3-movement work, and we're playing the second movement first, and then the first movement second. So the second movement you're going to hear is music of passion and determination. A little bit about Eric Ewazen. He will tell you that one of his major influences is the music of Aaron Copland, which means that his music is about being outdoors. Just as Aaron Copland's music is about spaces that, as big as the country is, the sky is even bigger, so Eric Ewazen's music also has an outdoor quality to it. First, the second music you will hear is music of passion and determination. Imagine hiking up a mountain. You're a little aired, and you turn around, it's like, what a beautiful vista. You hike up a little higher, even more beautiful. You get to the summit, and it is the most gorgeous vista you've ever seen. The first music you're going to hear is about storytelling. If you've ever sat around a campfire, you know that a campfire just opens people's hearts, that they tell their stories intimately and with great love. I've told my colleagues that if you can't smell the bacon cooking as the stars are coming out, then we haven't done our job. 2 movements of Eric Ewazen's trio for clarinet, viola, and piano. So Karen is clearing out her clarinet of water. She's not trying to spill the peace pipe or something. So just so you
Thank you so much. The Incidental Trio. You probably noticed that Steve Staruch is a radio announcer when he was telling you stories. He works at York Classical Minnesota Public Radio, and I happen to be his boss. But he comes here because he wants to, not because I'm his boss. Anyway, one of the traditions of the Summer Salon concert has been an opportunity to introduce young talent to an audience. And we're going to be doing that next. And I want to give you a little bit of a history about this. So when we did that first concert I mentioned 10 years ago, one of the reasons we were able to put it together in 3 weeks was because my daughter, Maire Clement, who's performing later, was studying at Florence Conservatory in Appleton, Wisconsin. And so I called her up and I said, how many of your friends live in the Twin Cities? I need them to come here and sing and perform at this concert. And I'm thinking right now, all of those students all have professional careers now.
One is at the Met.
And one has been singing at the Metropolitan Opera. And so you have seen them here first, okay? I just want you to know. And actually, I'm gonna invite Mary to come up. Are you able to come up?
Sure.
She's trying to be a mom at the same time. Lots has changed in 10 years. And this is one of Mary's students, so I asked her if she would please introduce her today.
Hi, everybody. It's so good to see you all. Yeah, this is my home. This is where I started singing, so it's always cool to see it become kind of full circle. This is my student, Kaitlyn, who this is my first time meeting her in person. Isn't that crazy? A student at Eden High School, an absolute gorgeous soprano voice, and when Jen Gilbert asked if one of my students wanted to perform, I thought, oh yeah, I love Kaitlyn sing, so I hope that you enjoy the song called Chloris.
Silly Kaitlyn. So beautiful. I know your voice teacher's so proud. I'm talking because he has to set up some chairs. I didn't realize how much I have to be talking, but here I am talking to you again. Just reminding you that we are here raising funds for the worship and music programs here at PCA, and there's ways to do that. You can write a check, you can make a contribution through PayPal or whatever works for you. I was thinking of something else that I was going to, Nancy Wucherpfennig, who is here playing flute. Nancy's one of the original Summer Salon people, and it was Nancy and so many of her musical friends who also helped to make this all possible. And every year Nancy's like, let me see if so-and-so will come, let me see if so-and-so will come. And if somebody's busy, she's always got another person who wants to come. So I wanted to personally thank Nancy for all of that additional love and attention that she gives this little salon. And I guess you're going to come up here and play now with Valerie Kahler, who's on the cello. And you might also notice that Sue Ruby's not leaving the piano. And she doesn't get to do that for a few more songs. So big hand to Sue Ruby, who's learned a lot of music.
My name is Leah Carver, and it's good to see you all here again. It's been a while. I'm going to be singing two pieces by Samuel Barber. The first is The Monk and His Cat. And if you like cats, you know exactly what this piece is about. Our 2.5-year-old asks every day to see our mama cat and her kittens. See tiny babies? See tiny babies, Mommy? And the kittens are just starting to wobble all around, and once kittens grow out of their wobble, they turn it into a beautiful little swivel as they go across the floor. So you'll hear all of that in that piece. And then the second piece, Sure on This Shining Night. I've never been able to verify this, so if anyone else knows anything about this, please tell me, but the imagery I get when I sing this piece is of Amelia Earhart. She's fine, so kindness must watch for me this side of the ground.
Together, scarred by
some more. Let me get set up. I'm just so grateful to see all of you here today. This is the most people we've had in our little sanctuary in 2.5 years, I'm pretty sure. So thank you for feeling comfortable enough to come out and to support this music and all these musicians and our little church here and the programs that we do. So thank you so much. Now Karen's going to come up and play some music with Sue. And this is wonderful. I'm sure Karen's going to tell you all about Florence Price. She's amazing.
Yes, indeed, Florence Price was amazing. In 1901, when she was a 14-year-old accomplished pianist, she entered the New England Conservatory of Music, from which she graduated in 1907. And she went on eventually to win a competition prize in 1932 for her Symphony No. 1. And part of that prize was having the piece played by the Chicago Symphony Orchestra, and also in 1932. And that was the first time a composition by a Black woman had been performed by a major orchestra. It was 1932. In 2022, I got to play that piece with the Rochester Symphony. And her music is getting more and more of the recognition that it has deserved all along, and is now appearing regularly on orchestral programs all over the world. From the early 1930s, she basically made her, I mean, who makes much of a living on being a composer, right? So she mostly made her living by playing the organ in church and in theaters. And one of the pieces she wrote for organ is called Adoration. And it is one of her best known and most beloved pieces, which means that it has been arranged for lots of different instruments, including clarinet and piano, thank goodness.
Thank you so much, Karen and Sue. So I was just sitting here thinking about Florence University. Remember I mentioned all those great kids from the conservatory came and played at the first Summer Salon. And I was thinking about how at the orientation for the parents, when we dropped our daughter off there in, what was that, 2010, I remember them listing some incredible statistic about how many Laurentians found their soulmate right there while they were going to college. That happened for Maire Davey. And thankfully, Davey's an incredible musician, so guess what? We recruited him every year after that too. So, and not only that, these beautiful stained windows that are behind us here, and I keep looking at them as I'm listening to the music, that's one of the things that Summer Salon funds help to support, and Davey designed those. So he's got a lot of talents. And then we had a young man in our midst of our congregation. He is an Eagle Scout, and creating those windows then became his Eagle Scout project, and he won a national award for that. So we just love the chance to celebrate all of the talents of these incredible musicians. So now, without further ado, the Boston Imposters.
Praise the rain that falls tonight.
me okay if I talk in this thing? Yep. Awesome. Davey needs to retune for this next one, so. It won't take that long, he's pretty fast. So yeah, we are the Boston Imposters, but also just Mary and Davey. People always ask us, why? Why do you call yourselves the Boston Imposters? Well, when we lived in Boston, we felt like we didn't quite fit in, and recently we've been kind of coming to terms with the fact that that story of being outsiders is one that we identify with and would like to not identify with anymore. So the title of our next album is called Insiders, which is also sort of a play on words, seeing as all the songs were songs that we wrote during quarantine when we were stuck inside. So we recorded that album just a few weeks ago, and it's now in the mastering stages and will be released very soon. So that's our exciting news. And that first song we sang, called Rain Falls, is a song Davey wrote. And I have to warn you, it's really powerful. Every time we sing it, a huge rainstorm happens. So if it rains tomorrow, it's our fault. I'll come to terms with that.
It started out as an etude for the banjo, where I was trying to do two things sort of simultaneously, which I kind of figured out how to do, but never really quite got there, so we turned it into a song instead. And I always just think the banjo always reminds me of water anyway. So this next one is called The Seasons.
I'm going to turn this over so I don't
Perfect.
sing the wrong
Yeah, so
song.
we don't. Yeah, some of those songs are so new that we forgot to memorize them.
Well, you know, when we're doing live stream concerts, maybe just tap the lyrics on the screen, no one would know. So we had to remember to memorize again.
Close in.
Winter clothed in silken veil, icy lips and skin so pale. In her arms, numbing frost, she felt her love too young to love. Let her go. Let her go. Spring, she gently kissed your cheek, whispered words few didn't speak. Within her arms, a fragrant grass. She felt her love too young to last. Let her go. Let her go. Let her go. Let her go. She felt in you, she could confide. But in her arms, I felt the cold of lovers lost and heartache old. Let her go. Let her go. Let her go. Let her go. Thank you all so much. We'll do one more for you. So as you know, we became parents last November. So there he is. This is his favorite song. In fact, I must admit, last night was a rough night. He did not want to go to bed. And I actually found myself standing in his room, praying for one thing, like, please let me stay calm because I'm exhausted. And then the other thing was I just started singing this song. Davey doesn't know this. He was off doing a show. And I was home with the baby, and so I'm singing this song, and it didn't quite make him go to sleep, but he calmed down. He knows the song, and he knows it's for him, and he loves it. It's one Davey wrote called Newborn Nights. Yeah, some of you who've been parents, you'll recognize the story behind this one.
Newborn minds, matchbox cars, sound machines for infant dreams beneath ceiling stars, fairy lights, creaking floors, learning how to hear him breathe through bedroom doors, half asleep, not quite awake, but I'll hold on to this moment for my sake. Newborn nights, matchbox cars, sound machines for infant dreams beneath ceiling stars, fairy lights, creaking floors, learning how to hear him breathe through bedroom doors, half asleep, not quite awake, but I'll hold on to this moment for my sake. I'm not quite awake, but I'll hold on to this moment.
Oh, thank you. Do we get like can we get like a little preview? I think you need to bring him up here while we get this set up. Got to see who the song was written for. That'll bring in some donations, don't you think? And while you get to meet Alistair James Clement Harrison, I will just remind you that this is a benefit concert for the music and worship programs of Presbyterian Church of the Apostles. And he's going to be playing here one of these days, I just know it. Are you gonna? You like the bongos? Yes, you do. What's Grandma doing up here? She's always doing something, I don't know what. We have another trio for you. Is that right? Yes? Trio? Yes? And they're ready. Are you ready? Karen and Nancy. And Sue, you got a break. Oh, thank goodness. All right. I will let you guys get situated and tell us what you're going to play.
So how many of you played in a very good high school or college concert band? You might have encountered the music by Ron Nelson, because he wrote a lot of terrific concert band music. One of my favorites was Rocky Point Holiday and Savannah River Holiday were one of his greatest hits for band. He also composed pieces for orchestra and choir, a lot of them, and only three chamber works, of which this is one. Kristen's song. So we're very happy to present this lovely trio, flute, clarinet, and piano, and I've performed it in churches, and we don't know who Kristen is. Nothing on his website says who Kristen is, but we think she was probably pretty special. So I'm going to hug this clarinet, which has been sitting here unplayed for a couple of hours because it's cold. It needs to be warmed up before our next piece, which is a tarantella by the great French composer Camille Saint-Saens. And he, like Florence Price, was a precocious pianist from early on and went on to become a great composer. And when he was 22 in 1857, he composed this piece, so relatively early in his career. And it was for flute and clarinet, and for a particular flautist and clarinetist who happened to be friends of the great Italian opera composer Giacomo Rossini, who at that time was retired and living in Paris. And Rossini, being a superstar of his time all over the world, and especially in Europe, hosted lavish dinner parties for his legions of admirers. And he thought it would be nice to have his friends, the flutists and clarinetists, play this new piece at one of those dinner parties. And so, of course, they did. And Saint-Saens was invited because he was the composer, right? So there were no printed programs, and Rossini sort of contrived to let everybody think that this was one of his pieces that was being played. And so there was a great, not had to be played again because it was a great piece, you know, blah, blah, blah. So then all of the people come up to talk to Rossini and say, "Oh, maestro, this is a masterpiece." And when they were done bowing and scraping, Rossini says, "Yes, it is a masterpiece, and I didn't write it. This young man, Camille Saint-Saens, wrote it." And that was one of the aspects of sort of launching Camille Saint-Saens' career. You probably don't know this piece, but you might know his Symphony No. 3, the Organ Symphony, and Danse Macabre, and the opera Samson and Delilah. Those are sort of his greatest hits. And probably the one best known to school children all over the world learning about instruments is the Carnival of the Animals. Now, how many of you have heard the story that a tarantella is a dance based on the fact of somebody being bitten by a tarantula and dancing in a frenzy until they either get rid of the poison or they fall down dead? Might not be true. The tarantella originates in an Italian village, Taranto, in about the 15th century. It is a fast-ish dance in 6/8. And it turns out that a tarantula bite is not poisonous and doesn't drive you mad. It hurts like heck, which might cause you to jump up and down a bit, but the dance probably is simply another one of those wonderful folk dances that has come out of Italy. So we are not going to play so fast that we fall over, because Camille Saint-Saens writes this as fast, but not too fast. So we're going to treat it as a dance in 6/8, and at the end it gets kind of fast and fun. We hope you enjoy it.
Grab this mic and do just a bit of talking. Hey, everybody. It's great being back in this space with you in this community and to be able to share this music. Julie knows that I love the Negro spiritual. Like, I feel like this is my favorite art form, is actually singing these spirituals and sharing these spirituals. And I thought about something Gwin said right at the beginning, is that we are seeking shelter. All of us are seeking shelter in a time of storm. And some of us can close our laptops. As he said, some of us can turn off NPR. But there are many of us who cannot escape the storm. And when I thought about his words from earlier, it made me think about my ancestors who sang these songs. And they never could escape because they worked from sunup to sundown. But they always remained hopeful. They kept their faith. They remained strong, sturdy, unbreakable. And what's so interesting about the spiritual that was programmed for today is an apocalyptic spiritual. My Lord, what a morning, when the stars began to fall. And this is taken straight from Revelation, because you got to realize is that the Christianity and the way that we see Christianity in the United States was taught to the slaves so that it can become more docile. So people use this religion so the slave can actually listen to the master and obey the master. These slaves, through a deep connection to the Holy Spirit, were able to take the instructions from the master and create this art form and take those same instructions and actually give us a path towards liberation. Because what's so interesting is that in the scripture it says, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. And this is after the stars began to fall. Now it's interesting, when you will hear this melody, you were like, okay, this is an apocalyptic spiritual, but it's stunning. It captivates your soul in a way you're just like, that melody just soothes me. And it made me think of something that Leah said. And I looked up an interpretation after you sang Sure on This Shining Night. And the lines, and this is according to Hannah Hetzel-Eben, says, the late year lies down the north. All is healed. All is health. And Hannah says this could be referring to the glory of heaven. So when we think about what these slaves were singing about in this apocalyptic spiritual, maybe it was what comes in the time of renewal, after the storm. So as you hear these words, my Lord with the morning, I hope that you can close your eyes a few moments and begin to dream of the new world after the storm, after the stars have fallen.
I'd like to invite all the musicians to quickly come up here so that we can thank you properly one more time. Oh, we lost some of them. Like a certain dad. Yeah, all right. And I think, I don't know, do we have anything to report, Jim, at this time? My money crew. Just to give you an idea of how we're doing. I don't ever consider this the final amount, and that's, I'll tell you why, because we have found for like the next 3 weeks, money will kind of trickle in as people make their contributions. So we are so far at, I can't read this, Jim. 2,500? Pardon me? You said, oh, plus PayPal. We don't know what's in the PayPal. Is that what that means? Yet to come. Okay, I can read his shorthand now. So thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you to our musicians. Jan Gilbert is serving on our committee and handing out little gifts. Jan is a member of our church and also a very accomplished composer and has written pieces that have been premiered at this concert. So thank you, Jan, for helping us out. So one more round of applause, and then we have one final short piece, and then you can go home. And one final grand finale from Sue and Nancy.
I want to say what a pleasure it is to hear all these musicians play today. It's just lovely. Thank you for performing today. And it is a joy for me to play with my friends, and especially to play with my friend, pianist Sue Ruby. Would you stand, please? Isn't she amazing? She is amazing. I am missing my other friend, Sue, on the piano bench. Sue Carlblum and I have made much music in this church. So, shout out to Sue Carlblum, missing you. This is a rather silly piece.
Thank you, Nancy and Sue and all of you for coming and for supporting the music and worship programs at PCA. Thank you so much. And now you are free to go.